Marijuana while you've been mayor?
Yes.
Crack while you've been mayor?
Yes.
More than once?
No. This is an isolated incident.
The bees call me honey, Hollywood calls me back.
Yes, I have some.
Crack and I have a lot in common. We both come up in the 80s and we keep that bass pumping. That's a negative comparison, embarrassing, unfortunate that if you come up fortunate, the street consider you lame. Ha, I thought the name of the game was to have a better life. I guess it ain't, what a shame. I don't slang, never slung, but I'm one with the slum that has a name well fitting. Plenty cheese getting, no wonder why they called it the trap. So watch your tail, and I'm not kidding. The rats and mice would give advice. They say you can paint and draw. Get out of here, go show them that we're more than slanging raw. That's when I broke into my Big Rube impression, and I tried to enlighten, but that night I learned a lesson that the morals that you think you got go out the window when all the other kids are fresh and they got new Nintendo Wii's, and your child is down on her knees praying hard up to God for a Whopper with cheese. Do you B? Hit the street hard with a flair, or do you A? Go to school for heating and air. Dare make a honest living, but make a crooked killing, or do a bit of both until you're holding on a million. Brilliant, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You put your left foot back in, and then you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey till you turn your life around. That's what it's all about. 3,000 out.
Some people are perfect. I'm not. I got caught. I admitted it.
CP24 is making the call. Rob Ford has been elected mayor of Toronto.
Our campaign team was a focus group that could not get us off our message. We focused watching taxpayers' money, and we're going to put an end to the gravy train.
And that's why I say he's going to be the greatest mayor this city has ever seen, as far as I'm concerned. And put that in your pipe, you left-wing kooks. Thank you very much.
Toronto's Mayor Rob Ford has been found guilty today of conflict of interest and been ordered by a judge to step down.
I'm Pop Molly, I rock
Rob Ford.
It all began when Rob Ford called a rush press conference.
While the marijuana charge was dismissed, I entered a guilty plea for failing to provide a breath sample, received a fine, and did some community service.
That he had, quote, a stubborn sense of entitlement and a dismissive and confrontational attitude.
He said he also had 2 other charges that are assault. He mentioned one when he was 18, another one later in his life, and he said, you know, very simply, he made a mistake.
And the downfall of Rob Ford.
Merry Christmas. Have you been good?
Rob Ford wasn't acting like a man who had just been thrown out of office.
As teenagers, he and older brother Doug were known as the party guys. Rob still remembered as the go-to kid for drugs.
Oh, I smoked it with Rob. Probably smoked marijuana or hash 5 or 6 times.
This man was a high school friend of Ford's.
The RY Drifters was sort of a loose association of young people that hung out in Etobicoke in the late 70s and early 80s. Some might have been self-identifying members, others would have just known about them, but it was sort of a loose group of kids that were involved in some serious heavy drugs, and there was a lot of our research found a lot of probably a lot of excess drug abuse in a community amongst young people, more than I would have expected to have found. Some serious hard drugs like heroin, and it was a group of kids that hung out at a plaza where those drugs were sold, and the name of the group was after the plaza. The plaza was once known as the Drift, and they became the RY Drifters.
Rob was a drug dealer at Scarlet Heights Collegiate in my era. Rob would brag about it.
And even 25 years later, he's afraid to be identified.
I know a lot of friends that brought hash from you, actually.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. That's good.
Awkward, because he has been fighting those allegations since May, when the Toronto Globe and Mail dug into the Ford family's checkered past and reported that Doug spent much of the 80s as a mid-level hashish dealer.
That's not the first time I've heard the allegations that your youth was slinging a little hash.
No, I wasn't slinging any hash. I said it very clearly. 30 years ago, 31 years ago, I smoked marijuana, and I didn't deal marijuana. If you want to go calling you know, going to your buddy and say, here's a joint for $10, if that's what they want to call it.
Back to when I saw you make that comparison.
Yeah.
I don't do drugs. I don't like drugs. Very simple. I hate anyone that is involved in the drug business. I hate
These allegations are ridiculous. It's another story.
Mr. Northern White Miriam.
There's been a serious accusation from the Toronto Star that I use crack cocaine. I do not use crack cocaine, nor am I an addict of crack cocaine. As for a video, I cannot comment on a video that I have never seen or does not exist.
In public, Ford advocated a get tough policy on drugs. Here in a 2005 CBC documentary about Toronto's growing problem with crack cocaine.
And I mean tough, like no nonsense. And this bleeding heart approach is not working. What are they going to do to our families? What are they going to do when they break into your house for $5? If it's as highly addictive as everyone's saying, they'll go crazy for it.
Against Board of Health substance abuse programs, and in a TV interview that was from some years ago that was re-aired last week, your advice for how to deal with people who'd smoked crack was give them a gun.
I heard that we hand out free cigarettes to the homeless. We spend $30,000 a year on handing out free cigarettes to the homeless. Okay. Then I found out that we spend $80,000 on giving free wine to the homeless at Seton House, and they said it's harm reduction. So I said, okay, let me go and see it for myself. I don't see, and I'm the first one to try to help somebody out who's had some drug issues or alcohol, whatever you want to call. But when I went down to Seton House, and they said, no, you're only allowed to have 72 ounces of wine a day. You're only allowed 9 8-ounce glasses of wine a day. Now, you try to think that 72 ounces of wine every day, and they say, well, we're helping them. How are you helping somebody that's an alcoholic, giving them 72 ounces of wine?
Excuse me, but it's not shooting them in the chest and killing them.
No,
that's how you're helping them. Okay, so you know.
I fight crime. I'm against drugs. I hate drugs. I don't take aspirin. I've never drank. I haven't drank since I've been 18 years old. I don't like it. Simple.
I heard the last phone call that you got from a drug addict. Actually, I think he was using oxycodone, Oxycontin, which is one of the largest drug problems in this province right now.
Can you find Oxycontin so I can get on the medication so I can...
I'll try.
So I can at least...
Shit, but I'll fucking try to find it. I don't...
I'm against drugs. I do not condone drugs. I don't take aspirin. I've never touched any drugs, cocaine, crack, never, ever, period, ever. And I don't condone it. I despise drugs.
You haven't been drinking at all?
I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in 3 weeks.
Not,
a drop.
Not a drop.
I'll take a urine test right now, and if there's alcohol,
drugs?
none, zero. I'll do a urine test right now.
When's the last time for drugs?
Long time. I'm talking like it was like a long time ago.
What about drug testing? And you could dive in.
That's what I said.
I'd
be the first one to do a drug test. I put a motion on the table.
Okay, Mayor Ford to speak. Okay.
I don't want to move this motion, but I have to move this motion. And no one wants to move this motion. But I'm not a rat. I don't want to. It's my fault.
Move your motion so you before.
That City Council direct all members of council. Madam Speaker.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
If I can't.
Okay, hold on. Okay, Mayor Ford, as I indicated when you mentioned to me you were going to move this motion, I informed you that the motion is out of order.
Why don't we just have a drug test? Let all the councillors have a drug test, or call a snap election.
Joe, I think it should go right across the country. You know, they have to do drug testing across the country, and when I say drug testing, I'm including alcohol, because I know sales office, I should say, in California in the wine industry.
I urinated in a parking lot
What does that have to do? Or bring up the beer St. Patrick's Day party 2 years ago. What does that have to do with anything?
It is beyond sad now. Look, Rob Ford says a lot of silly things. I think most of us have tuned him out. I'm pretty sure the police have tuned him out. If you still believe something Rob Ford tells you, you ought to get a drug test.
Well, I got an idea. Why don't they all do a drug test?
All the city councilors.
Yeah, why doesn't every politician in the country?
But
Come on,
the mayor
let's be fair.
is the biggest.
So why I think all of the councillors and myself should have a drug and alcohol test right now. And if you want to do it right across the country, do it. But it's more important that we deal with the people here, because the hypocrisy down at City Council, they're attacking me for my personal issues. Stephen, there's people on that council that have been criminally charged.
It's rank hypocrisy, isn't it? That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Hypocrisy at its best.
You know what happens when you get to a certain point? When you're very, very inebriated? You remember this, you might not remember that. There's this point, I hate to say it, there's this blackout period that I think we all have gone through. As a teenager, going to university, some people drink to excess.
Maybe he was drinking too much, and it happened.
There's been times when I've been in a drunken stupor. That's why I want to see the tape. I want everyone in the city to see this tape.
He does have a problem.
I don't even remember after some of the stuff that you guys see me, the state I've been in. It's a problem. So I want to get.
Are you
I said I
right
got.
now?
We're gonna go up to the party, man. Let's go. I want to get these kids playing football.
Yeah, I need to get in a picture with you.
The mayor clearly having a good time, and clearly not at City Hall.
I've never once went down to City Hall intoxicated or under the influence of drugs. And yes, I have made mistakes in the past. It's all because of alcohol. Excessive, stupid, immature behavior.
Hey,
big guy, man. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Buy a bottle at the party right
About what happened at this pub on St. Patrick's Day. The mayor so drunk he could barely walk. He later returned to City Hall, where security guards saw him stumbling and swearing, brandishing a half-empty bottle of brandy.
If you show up at work with an open bottle of alcohol and you're clearly out of control, whether you have a drinking problem that night or a drinking problem in your life, it doesn't really matter anymore. You've allowed alcohol to have an impact on your performance of duties. And when those duties are public duties, you've betrayed a trust to the public. It doesn't matter whether it's alcoholism or binge drinking or just a bad night.
Going back to like 7 years ago when I got inebriated at the hockey game.
In 2006, a drunken Rob Ford was removed from a hockey game after calling a fan a right-wing commie bastard and asking his wife if she wanted to get raped in Iran. When the couple complained, Ford at first denied even being at the game. He later apologized.
All I can do is say I'm sorry. I've said that, and I sincerely mean it, and just got to keep doing my job.
Sound familiar? When a story went round that he'd once been arrested for drunk driving in Florida, Ford insisted that hadn't happened either. When reporters found proof, he had to admit the DUI and that Florida police had also charged him with possessing marijuana.
I entered a guilty plea for failing to provide a breath sample.
In 2008, though, the allegations turned darker. Police were called to Ford's home. His wife was accusing him of assault.
No, there's no secret. Our family's had some trials and tribulations, and I just gotta weather the storm and keep moving on.
The charge was eventually dropped.
And Michael Thompson asked me, what would Rob Ford do if someone got in trouble on this council? Well, I'm not going to name names, but 2 people on this council got in trouble, drinking and driving. And who was the first person to stand beside them and say, don't worry about it, I'm here to help you, let's move on? It was Rob Ford. It was Rob Ford.
I'm not driving. I'm not driving.
Mr. Ford, please direct the question through the chair to the staff.
Again, who do I speak to about the proper code of conduct?
Councillor, matters with respect to code of conduct,
Stop.
Mayor Ford, please stop disrupting.
Belong to one of the accountability officers.
But I'm the $1 million man. And you will be bought.
He's doing a great job.
Just remind people why you're in Chicago.
Well, we have a business in Chicago, Deco Labels, and we have sales offices across the country. We've opened another plant and sales office, I should say, in California in the wine industry, and we have offices in Wisconsin and New Jersey and Ohio. Illinois is one of the main manufacturing facilities, and New Jersey is as well. And where else? In Texas and then down south in Florida.
Is the economy turning around in the States?
You know something? I think it is. I'm not going to get into it with the chief.
And in this world, there are more poor people than there are rich people. And I side with the poor people.
And reducing the size and cost of government. Government is not a good thing. I can assure you. Bigger government, more taxes, and then you just create a massive bureaucracy. Sylvia Stalin era Pravda journalism. And for the folks that don't know what Pravda journalism, back in the day of Stalin, that tries to coerce the people. Get the people
What are you talking about, Doug?
Yeah. Big brother, we're the nanny state. We should tell people what we should and shouldn't do. I don't have a problem with people drinking, but come on. And then they want to say something about marijuana that the federal government sells? Give me a break. No, I just want to tell you, we have some great politicians out there. Don't get me wrong. But I just do not see eye to eye with politicians, and I am not a politician. Simple.
Well,
okay.
Last time I checked, you're a councillor.
No, hold on. I'm a business guy that's donating his time back to the city, and that's it, because I do not want to be called a politician. As far as I'm concerned, Doug, politicians are, I don't even want to get into it on the air.
Doug, you're a politician.
I'm not a politician.
You are.
You guys might be. Don't ever call me a politician. Call me anything but a politician.
What kind of politician is he, Francis?
Well, I don't need this job. Like, unlike other politicians, Jackson, I don't need this. I don't need to be a slimy politician that is self-serving and going out there and just worrying about themselves. All the Ford family has done is worried about other people.
So are you saying you were never involved in the drug trade?
No. If you're asking me, did I smoke marijuana in high school? Absolutely I did.
Were you ever involved in selling drugs?
No, I wasn't. Was there small quantities of drugs throughout the high school, like every high school? Absolutely there was. But is this the best they got 30 years ago? They're digging up high school stories from unnamed sources? I think it's disgusting, as I said before, that an organization like Gawker would go out there and deal with a bunch of extortionists, Somalian drug dealers, as they said in their words. And I think it's disgusting, and it puts a real tarnish on a great community, the Somalian community that I represent, thousands of them. They're hardworking people, and again, I think it's disgraceful. I don't condone drugs. I don't condone drug use. I fight against it in our ward. I asked my brother 3 times, do you have an issue? Have you ever done crack cocaine? He answered me 3 times, no, I don't. I don't have a problem. I believe him. I can't ask him any more times, Jamie. I've never in my entire life that I've been with my brother ever have seen him use crack cocaine.
Have you ever done illegal drugs?
Yeah, when I was 16, 17, 18, I smoked marijuana. And if that's the end of the world, this is the best they have. 30 years. They go back 30 years, spend 2 years to come up with this.
What about
You got to be kidding me. I guess a derivative of marijuana.
So
same difference.
Right, so you've done hashish, but...
yeah.
Fellow councillors, how many of you smoke marijuana? Kind of a leap from there to smoke crack.
No, but I asked them cocaine too. Yeah. They were silent. They were silent. And I thought, okay, you SOB, you're sitting there. The question is, have you ever smoked marijuana? Have you ever smoked marijuana?
Of the motion.
Hold it. Have you ever smoked marijuana? It's a question. It's simple. A yes or a no. Have you smoked marijuana?
Point of privilege, Madam.
Okay.
The answer, I guess, is yes. The answer is yes, I guess.
Councillor Ford.
I would like everyone else to stand up.
Councillor.
Tried smoking marijuana.
Councillor Ford.
The whole council will stand up.
Councillor Ford.
Don't come across that you're holier than that. Okay? Because you aren't. Every one of you are not. Have you ever drank? Have you ever driven? Councillor Minawong? No.
Councillor Ford. Councillor Ford.
Everyone should be careful about throwing rocks in the glass house. Okay?
It is off.
Have you ever done illicit drugs, Minawong?
Councillor Ford.
I know the answer. I know the answer.
Point.
He can't answer it truthfully. That's the problem. And no one else in this chamber can answer it truthfully. Okay? You can't answer it truthfully. That's why
Speaker Thompson. His mic is off. His mic. Okay. Members of council. No point of order. No. Councillor Mamalidi.
I think there has been some very serious politics being played.
Yeah, they don't want to be truthful.
The mayor's close friend offered a pound and a half of marijuana in return for that cell phone.
Gang suspects also say he used something called Dugga. I have no, forgive me for not being completely fluent in my drug slang here. I have no idea what Dugga is. Do you?
I think it's a reference to him smoking, using a pipe to consume illicit drugs.
We have just received word that we have a message from the office of Mayor Ford, Mr. Northern White Miriam Miriam. With less crack.
Last week checked in with His Honor. He was knocking over a city councilwoman the day the council stripped him of powers after he admitted to smoking crack. Now, something you'll also recall, he denied time and again after reports of a compromising video emerged.
These allegations are ridiculous. Absolutely. I'm not sure. It's ridiculous.
Are the allegations true?
It's ridiculous, guys. I do not use crack cocaine, nor am I an addict of crack cocaine. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine. But no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
I tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors.
Should the CEO have admitted to having smoked crack cocaine or driving drunk or...
Rob is not a crack user. He doesn't drink every single night. He's admitted to his faults. And I just wish other politicians would come clean like Rob Ford has.
You don't have to be a regular crack user to look at that.
Do not use crack cocaine.
At first he denied using crack cocaine, then faced with photographic and video evidence, he made this astonishing admission and excuse.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine. But no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
I tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors, probably approximately about a year ago. I answered your question. You asked the question properly, I'll answer it.
How many
yes,
times
I've made mistakes. All I can do now is apologize and move on.
I've admitted to using illegal drugs in the last year. Okay, I've admitted to drinking too much. Okay, so I'm dealing with it. I am training every day. I'm in a gym for 2 hours every day. I'm seeking professional help.
He refused to go into detail about why he smoked crack or under what circumstances he did, only to apologize again for doing it in the first place.
It was definitely the worst week of my life. I have nothing left to hide. But the past is the past. These mistakes will never, ever, ever happen again.
But this time, it may not be so easy. There are serious questions he still won't answer.
Have you admitted all of your problems?
I can't come out I don't know what else there is. I don't know.
I don't know. There might be like a coat hanger left in my closet. I don't know. I don't know what's left. Counselor, I've made mistakes, and that's it. I don't know what else I can say.
I think the biggest thing is I admitted I've done drugs.
I mean, you've admitted that you smoke crack cocaine. That is against the law. But what's the right approach for someone who's done the things you've done?
There's nothing else to say, guys. I really effed up, and that's it.
And after months of denials, a stunning admission.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
When,
but
sir?
no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
I
smoked
tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors.
Ford isn't facing any charges. He sees no reason to resign.
And then enough is enough. And I asked the question. I came out and I admitted to it. They didn't force me to admit to it. And then you have the police chief spending over $1 million on following me around.
You don't know if people are videoing this or doing that. I don't know what's out there right now, but everything that I am aware of is out there. I don't know what else I can say.
And I side with the poor people. And I know there's a lot of people that are perfect out there. I'm not one of them. I admitted to it. I came forward. I came clean. And now I'm getting punished for being honest. And that's the bottom line.
What's the rich and poor part got to do with it?
The rich and poor.
Rich, right?
I'm not. I don't know what you consider rich.
No, but you're not poor.
What do you consider rich? No, you know what I'm saying by poor people? The average working person, the average factory worker, the people that live in Toronto community housing. There's one person that takes care of them, and that's me.
It's Mayor Rob Ford running wild, admitted to smoking crack, and out-of-control behavior in general.
You're running for re-election.
Absolutely.
Marion Barry smoked crack, got re-elected. Have you reached out to him?
No, I haven't reached out to anyone.
Your behavior's been a little erratic.
Can you get off my property, please?
Don't get off my property! What's going on?
Did I go out and party sometimes? Yes. I'm only human.
You party a little harder than most people.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Some people would say...
Well, most people don't smoke crack when they party.
On a Friday night, if I know I have nothing planned the next day, maybe once every 2 months, which it usually is, yeah, I'll drink. I'll have a big party.
Cut loose.
Cut loose.
You smoke crack?
No, I don't smoke crack.
You did one time?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't have to say that. I came out and said it. And then they started dropping all these videos. And then the police are following me around with planes, and I've never been charged. This is the biggest coup that you have ever seen in North America. Am I politically correct? No. Am I a little rough around the edges? Absolutely. I call a spade a spade.
Do you still have zero tolerance for drugs, guns, and gangs?
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell me how that applies to you?
I just answered that question.
Mr. Mayor, have you purchased illegal drugs in the last 2 years?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, are you then saying then that you have violated the council code of conduct?
In what respect?
I'm asking you a question, sir.
In what respect?
I'm asking you a question. The activities that you have indicated that you're sorry for and that you have made mistakes, the activities that have been reported in the media.
Yes, I've broken the code of conduct.
So
but you know what?
The mayor has admitted he's breached the code.
And I don't do drugs.
The last time you did drugs was?
A year ago sometime.
Would it have been this incident with the crack?
Probably, yes. Probably in and around a year. I don't know exactly when it was, but probably in about a year ago.
Do you remember anything about that night?
I haven't seen the video. I don't know.
Hey, it's simply bad to have sitting politicians smoking crack.
I drank too much. I smoke some crack sometime. What can I say? I made a mistake. I'm human.
Last summer is when I heard that the mayor does hardcore drugs, crack cocaine, for example. And that was the conversation that I had with young people that I mentor.
So you were hearing from these kids that you were mentoring that
Right.
Rob Ford was doing hardcore drugs at 15 Windsor Drive.
It was, yeah.
And
that was a general rumor that was in the community.
Most people I know don't go smoke some crack. That must worry you.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, no, you know something, Bill? we could keep, you know, whipping the horse here and keep talking about it. Again, he's getting support, and we're going to move forward on
being a crack addict and saying, do you smoke crack? No, I don't. Have I? Yeah.
The mayor says, yeah, just Justin Trudeau's a fag. And around this point, he holds up what's in his hand, and it's a clear tube. And then in the other hand, with a lighter, he cooks it from below and inhales and exhales, and smoke comes out.
Smoking what appeared to be crack cocaine. And this photograph, Rob Ford with 3 young men from Dixon.
And you know what? I made mistakes. I drank too much. I smoked some crack sometime. What can I say? I made a mistake. I'm human.
But can't you see why some would question your judgment?
So what? So lie about it? Just hide? No one else.
Just that you would do it in the first place. That shows.
No, I didn't say that.
Once on crack? Ever on cocaine?
Yes.
Yes.
I've admitted that. Yes, I've admitted that.
Once or more than once?
I just said that. I've answered your question.
On cocaine? More than
yes.
once?
When I was younger, I experimented with drugs.
I mean while you're being mayor.
No.
Never cocaine while you're being
no.
mayor. Ever on drugs in this office?
Never.
No one is going to accuse me of having escorts and doing lines of cocaine at a bar and former staffers saying I'm making sexual advances to my other staffers. I'm not going to put up with it. Enough is enough, guys. Enough is enough.
When a fucking waiter says you're doing lines, most likely you're doing lines, especially if there's a video of you smoking crack.
Right.
He admits to that.
Yes.
He admits to the video of him smoking crack. He's beautiful.
He is a beautiful man.
He's the mayor who continues to defy political gravity, whose crack cocaine use only pushed his approval ratings higher.
He went for the most ghetto of ghetto drugs, and he did it with a bunch of black people, and they got videos of him. I mean, does he not know what a fucking cell phone is when they're holding a cell phone in front of him?
Yeah.
I love that Mike Tyson shit's the best part.
You gotta play to win.
The mayor wants some drugs.
I'm trying to get some crack rocks.
Mayor had been smoking his rocks that day at 15 Windsor, is what the Intercept says.
I smoke rocks.
Do you smoke crack, and are you a crack addict? No, I don't smoke crack, and I'm not a crack addict. Have I? Yes, I have. So that's what I didn't lie. I don't smoke crack. I haven't smoked crack in over a year. But did I? But
that's
come on.
semantics.
Oh, it's not semantic.
And you purchase drugs yourself, as opposed to having been given by a friend or whatever. You actually purchase the drugs.
Yes.
Now, is that an illegal act?
That's an illegal act. Yes, I've bought marijuana.
While you've been mayor.
Yes.
Have you ever smoked marijuana? Thank you very much for your questions, guys.
Thank you very much for your questions.
I smoked a lot of it.
Lovely.
The same argument could be made comparing marijuana to crack.
Yeah, that's nasty stuff. Absolutely nasty.
So just so we can be perfectly clear, so you can go on the record.
I'll go on the record.
Have you ever been involved in the drug trade?
No, I've never been involved in the drug trade. Have I smoked marijuana in high school? Absolutely, I did. Like everyone else. Did I buy a joint here or there, whatever? Absolutely. Just like every other kid. And I'm sure you, Jackson, have smoked marijuana. And God knows what else you've done.
But were you ever involved in the hash trade?
No, hash, marijuana, same thing. No, I wasn't.
Have you ever smoked marijuana? Thank you very much for your questions, guys.
I won't deny that. I smoked a lot of it.
How long ago, sir?
Yes, I've bought marijuana.
While you've been mayor.
Yes.
And what should people think of that? Should they think that you should be charged? You committed an illegal act.
You're absolutely right. But there's a lot of people that have done what I've done that sat right on that council chamber floor that have purchased marijuana. Absolutely.
Okay, I don't know that to be a fact, but
I know it to be a fact.
Let that aside. They're not the mayor. They're the mayor of Toronto.
You know what? I'm a human being.
Toronto's Mayor Rob Ford.
Have you ever smoked marijuana? Thank you very much for your questions, guys.
I won't deny that. I smoked a lot of it.
Earlier this year, media reports suggested there was video showing Ford smoking a crack pipe.
I smoked a lot of it.
I do not use crack cocaine, nor am I an addict.
On his weekly radio show, Ford vowed to move on.
I'm not holier than thou, so I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm never going to drink again. That's not realistic.
Seek absolution.
It's well known that there's a member of my family that has an addiction problem.
Robbie is not a drug addict. I know because I'm a former addict, or an addict if you would want to say. And as an alcoholic, if you want to consider binge drinking once every 3 months and you get totally plastered, which he just makes himself a fool out of himself, and I've even asked him to leave my home at one time I saw him, fine.
You've stated on numerous occasions, to use your words, that you were inebriated. Every episode that has occurred that has caused commotion in the city has been because you've indicated that you've been inebriated, and yet you fail to appreciate that perhaps there's a problem there.
Counselor, I've admitted to my mistakes, and I said it would not happen again, and it has never happened again at the Air Canada Centre.
I'm not an alcoholic. I am not a drug addict. Have I had my outbursts in the past? Absolutely I had, John. But you know what? I'm only human.
I don't believe him when he says he's not addicted. I say to you very clearly that I think that he is. I think that he's addicted to alcohol, and I think that the behavior clearly shows substance abuse to illicit drugs.
No, I'm not an addict, and no, I do not do drugs. I made mistakes in the past, and all I can do is apologize, but it is what it is, and I can't change the past.
If the mayor doesn't recognize that he needs a proper consultation, a proper diagnosis by someone in the field, and that usually takes about 28 days.
I think the mayor was very clear. He does not do crack cocaine. He does not have an addiction to crack cocaine. And I think he was very clear on that.
Mr. Mayor, do you think you have an addiction problem with alcohol?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Mayor, do you think you have an addiction problem with substance abuse in illicit drugs?
Absolutely not.
Ford family is a close-knit one, with the mayor admitting he hid the crack cocaine secret from everyone.
Not a drug addict?
No, absolutely not. He couldn't function. If he was, he couldn't accomplish the things he has.
Do you think he has an alcohol problem?
Well, some people say you're an alcoholic if you binge drink once every 3 months and you just drink to and bleed. What is it? Out of your mind or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Other people say if you have one every night before dinner, you're an alcoholic. It depends what you want to consider an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, and Robbie does not drink every night, and he does not drink one. When Robbie drinks, I think he just goes full tilt.
You're absolutely right, and I have been all the time, here every day and straight.
And that's
not away in some rehab?
No. And what's he going to go to?
Will you get help?
I'm not an addict of any sort, so I'm not quite sure why you're saying I need help.
I'm not an addict. Why go see an addict when I'm not an addict? I'm not an alcoholic.
I put myself in the shoes of the taxpayers, and if they were to look at the few incidents that we've had, I could understand. They would say he may have a problem. I can assure you, I am not an alcoholic. I am not a drug addict. Have I drank? Have I done drugs? Yes, I have. But it's self-inflicted.
It's not true what some counselors are saying. It's just not true.
The reason I drank or did drugs was not because of stress. It was out of sheer stupidity. Okay. That's all it was.
The only person that could admit to having some kind of an addiction problem is the person who has it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am talked to professionals.
I asked the mayor whether some of that professional help that he was getting would include substance abuse treatment. He refused to go into any level of detail on that, again just saying that he's not an addict, so why would he need substance abuse treatment?
So is the answer yes, you're getting professional help?
I can't, anyways, Counselor, I've just answered your question. Like, I don't know what more I can say.
Mr. Mayor, your chief of staff said Mark Truman tell you to go to rehab. Mr. Mayor, your chief of staff told you
Any questions?
Doug, do you take a question?
And at that residence, it has been deemed or suggested it is a crack house, a house of where drugs and other activities take place. Did you at any point in time report that particular address to Municipal Licensing and Standard? Or
No, sir. That is not a crack house. Well, have you been into that house?
I have no interest in being in that house. I'm not a crack user.
So,
In that famous picture in front of 15 Windsor Drive, which is alleged a crack house, this wasn't just happenstance. I mean, he was with these characters. It's not just that he was walking by and someone said, we're putting the picture now.
There are pictures of individuals that don't do good to this city, that you seem to have a relationship with. Do you understand that even those of us that want to help you are really concerned about these things?
Counselor, this one isolated picture in front of a garage was a one-off picture. I had never met those three men in my life. They came out and asked me to take a picture with them, and that's the God-honest truth. I have never met those people. They're in court now. I'm not part of gangbangers. I do not support them. But when someone comes out and says, let's take a picture, I would take a picture. I met those people once, and I've never seen them again.
The documents allege a disturbing political influence over the Dixon Bloods, an alleged Toronto street gang. On wiretap, police say the mayor lost his phone one drugged-out night in April at this crack house, and a call and a threat were allegedly made that night. Lisi threatened that if he did not get the phone back, that the mayor would bring heat on Dixon.
He's referred to as Dro, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Sandro, yeah.
Yeah, Sandro Lisi threatened that if he did not get the phone back, the mayor would put heat on Dixon.
The police wiretap summaries suggest he called the alleged drug dealers to try to retrieve the mayor's cell phone, stolen from him that night in April. He tells them that if he doesn't get the phone back, the mayor will put the heat on Dixon, suggesting the police would crack down on the local street gang.
At least he can go to court and say, well, you know, big fan of the mayor knew nothing about this.
Early morning, June 13th, tactical teams from 17 different police agencies descended on the neighborhood of Dixon. It was the culmination of that secret guns and gangs investigation they'd started a year earlier.
We are bringing you the very latest on the massive police operation. It involves officers from right across southern Ontario. 30 warrants targeting drugs and guns are being executed. One of the focal points of this investigation is an apartment building, the address 320 Dixon Road, that is near Islington. At least 100 officers are on the scene.
Spokespeople for the Somali community today denounced the raids.
Don't go after a woman who's nearly 100 years old. Don't go after 10-year-old children and stick a gun. They woke up to guns and pointed at them.
When she fell off her bed, she said that she was picked up and they pulled her arms behind her back and they tried to detain her. That's when she started to convulse.
She's still trying to understand why, in her words, the soldiers were here.
A SWAT team going in there and attempting to handcuff her.
I heard two bangs, and I thought it was someone shooting in the hallway or there was some kind of fight going on. So I came running out of my room, trying to see what was going on. And as soon as I came out, there was a hole in my door, and they threw a stun grenade through it. So I ran into a grenade, like a stun grenade or whatever it was, flash grenade. So I ran into that, and it kind of got me a little bit woozy. So I seen tactical guys come in there with their machine guns. You know, I knew this was something serious, so I kind of cooperated, had my hands down.
44 people were arrested that day, including Farah, his mother, and his brother. Also arrested, Mohammed Siad, the man Farah had been helping shop the Rob Ford video, and the two surviving young men in that famous photo. The charges laid that day had nothing to do with the photo or the video, but that didn't stop people thinking that all of this was really about the mayor.
All they told me was it's not only your unit, it's the whole building, and this is happening because of Rob Ford.
$3 million in narcotics, 40 firearms, $500,000 in cash, and 43 individuals were arrested.
A major police drug raid in Etobicoke. Among the targets, an apartment where the Rob Ford crack video was allegedly held. Police would not confirm a connection until this October press conference.
The digital video file that we have recovered
depicts images which are consistent with those that had previously been reported in the press.
Mayor Rob Ford's habit of doing drugs with gang members led to him being targeted in an apparent extortion plot related to the crack cocaine video and possibly a series of photographs of him in compromising positions, newly released police documents say.
Mayor Ford, what do you have to say about the latest allegations? Mayor Ford, have you ever used heroin? Mayor Ford, did you try to buy the video? Mayor Ford, did you try to buy the crack? Have you done other hard drugs, Mayor Ford?
April 20th, about a month before news of the crack video broke, as the mayor helped clean up a public park.
This is fun.
Project Traveler wiretaps were abuzz about Rob Ford's cell phone being stolen. It happened early that morning. According to The Intercepts, it had been a late night for the mayor. Just before 1 a.m., Liban Siad got a call from someone telling him to go to 15 Windsor Road, believed to be a crack house, because Rob Ford wants some drugs. Siad was later heard on wiretap saying the mayor had been smoking his rocks at 15 Windsor Road. It was from that alleged crack house that police believe Ford's cell phone was stolen. Later that day, as the mayor cleaned up the park, a man believed to be Ford's friend, Alexander Lisi, called Liban Siad. He said the mayor was freaking out and that if he didn't get his phone back, the mayor would put heat on Dixon. The phone wasn't reported stolen to police, but the guys who took it weren't too worried about that because police heard they had a picture of the mayor on the pipe. Later that afternoon, the mayor's phone was allegedly given to Lisi in exchange for drugs. Fast forward 1 month, May 17th, the morning after the news of the video first broke, members of the media were outside the mayor's home.
It's ridiculous. It's another Toronto star. Whatever you want to call them.
And according to information released today, former staffer David Price was standing by just down the street. Price would later tell police that while he waited for the mayor, he got a call from an unknown number. He was given some names, Gotti and D. Gotti, according to police, is Mohammed Siad, one of the men believed to have been shopping around the Rob Ford video. Price said he was given an address, 320 Dixon Road, apartment 1703. That was the place, Price told police. The person who made the video deals drugs. Price said he was told that Dee and Gotti were partners with Anthony Smith, the man on the left, the man who was murdered in March outside a downtown nightclub.
The documents also reveal that the mayor's logistics director, David Price, suggested gang member Anthony Smith, the man believed to have recorded the video, was murdered in March because of it. Police discounted that suggestion.
Alleged gang members are saying whatever they're saying. You know, as a lawyer, there's no factual or legal foundation. And when you mention the word evidence, this is not evidence. When you say untested in court, this will never see a court because, as you know, this is hearsay unless you have the actual individual who said it.
The mayor of the city, Rob Ford, was smoking his rocks today.
A clear motive from these guys to take pictures of him and document him and collect, if you believe what they're saying, and basically collect a get out of jail free card as far as the mayor was concerned. They frequently make references to having evidence of him using drug use. They also note that they like him, by the way. They said, we like him a lot, but, we've got so much stuff on him. No, it's a completely bizarre story. And the mayor so far has only said, he might have smoked crack once, that one time in a drunken stupor.
Also emerging is a possible new timeline to the story. Documents suggest police believe the infamous Ford crack video was made in February, that on March 27th, someone tried to buy it. That's a full 7 weeks before the Gawker website and the Toronto Star published their bombshell stories about the video.
In interview after interview, Ford said he smoked crack only once.
Crack while you've been mayor?
Yes.
More than once?
No. This is an isolated incident.
Previous police documents suggest the video of Ford was made in February. But the new wiretap summaries suggest gang members were talking about delivering drugs to Ford at this home, which police call a crack house, on April 20th. Liban Syed tells a friend the mayor of the city, Rob Ford, was smoking his rocks today. And he said another alleged gang member claimed to have pictures of Ford doing the hezza, a street term for heroin.
Welcome back, Chief.
Reporters asked Toronto's police chief why, with those wiretaps in police possession, were charges never brought against the mayor.
All of the evidence that was gathered in that case has been reviewed by the investigators and with Crown prosecutors in this case, and where reasonable probable grounds to lay a charge exists, charges have been laid.
Well, embattled Mayor Rob Ford is facing new allegations that he may have used drugs more than he's admitted, and they may have tried to buy the infamous crack video while later publicly denying its existence.
More court documents were released today, and they include explosive new allegations about Rob Ford, including that he may have tried to buy that so-called crack video himself, the same video Ford originally denied even existed.
Court documents suggest alleged gang members tried to blackmail Ford over the crack video. Documents also indicate that the mayor may have done drugs on multiple occasions. And also the documents allege that the mayor associated with drug dealers and gang members.
Mayor Ford, what do you have to say about the latest allegations?
Rob Ford had nothing to say leaving his office this evening. Just an hour after a judge released more pages from those police surveillance documents that have plagued him for weeks.
The police documents suggest that Mayor Ford was likely aware that that crack video existed.
Documents suggest police believe the infamous Ford crack video was made in February, that on March 27th, someone tried to buy it. That's a full 7 weeks before the Gawker website and the Toronto Star published their bombshell stories about the video.
1 a.m., another call. The mayor of the city was smoking rocks today at that same alleged crack house, and that he had a picture and he was going to put it on Instagram.
Another part of the transcript shows drug dealers talking about the mayor's alleged drug use. One of them says, quote, Rob Ford wants some drugs. Another says, quote, the mayor of the city, Rob Ford, was smoking his rocks today. They even say they have pictures of Ford, quote, on the pipe.
Ridiculous. Where's security? Is there any security? Right here.
And a familiar answer. The only media Ford would talk to was an American sports radio station, and he was supposed to be talking football.
These are wiretaps from gang members who say that you offered $5,000, if not more, $150,000 in a car to confiscate the video of you doing crack.
Number one, that's an outright lie. And number two, you can talk to my lawyers about it. But I'm here to talk football, guys. So if you want to talk football, talk football. If you want to talk about other things, then unfortunately I'm going to have to let you know.
He's claimed there was an isolated event about a year ago of smoking crack. These documents suggest it was much more recent than that, as recent as April, and perhaps other drugs and more often.
The allegations are ridiculous.
According to former staffer George Christopoulos, that day the mayor told him that if the video did exist, it might be at 320 Dixon Rd, apartment 1701 or 1703. 4 days later, a young man was shot on the 17th floor of 320 Dixon Road. The victim was 22-year-old Abdullahi Haroon, an alleged gun-toting cocaine trafficker who police believe was also trying to sell the video. Haroon was allegedly heard on wiretaps saying he had so many pictures of the mayor doing drugs. It was around the time Haroon was shot that Price allegedly told former Ford staffer Mark Toohey the situation with the video was being taken care of as they spoke.
Some intercepts suggest that alleged gang members received 1.5 pounds of marijuana that was delivered to them by Lisi, and the mayor's phone was never reported stolen.
But the new wiretap summaries suggest gang members were talking about delivering drugs to Ford at this home, which police call a crack house.
By police as a crack house. In that photo with Mayor Ford is Anthony Smith. Now, based on times of intercepts, Ford is alleged to have been smoking crack just hours before attending a cleanup Toronto event at a park. It's Colonel Samuel Smith Park.
By noon last April 20th, the mayor of Toronto was at this park to help clean up after what might have been a very drugged-out night at this alleged crack house. There were calls made from here around 1 a.m. allegedly to get the mayor high. Rob Ford wants some drugs. Police say they heard on a wiretap around 1 a.m. This is the evidence collected by police and uncensored by the courts. The allegations in the police documents are unproven, but suggest that Rob Ford smoked crack more than once, and that he's been repeatedly involved with alleged gang members in the city. And even after the mayor found out that a video exists, he still continued using crack and hanging around those who tried to use it against him. according to the allegations.
How does he start hanging out with a violent drug gang, whether or not he's buying crack or not? Just how does he start hanging out with them?
Well, it's a certain area of, he's a counselor and he lives in the area. His home is only about 10 minutes away from this complex of housing where the Dixon City Bloods operate out of. His older sister is a former heroin addict. He has other addiction issues in his family.
Brother, you've never seen me go by that. You know, brother, when he's down there, I'll work his throat out, I'll poke his eyes out. When he's dead, I'll make sure that mother is dead.
Alleged gang members bragged about having a lot of dirt on the mayor. There was a conversation of an alleged gang member intercepted at 5:51 a.m., and this is on April 20th, saying that the mayor was smoking his rocks today. Another conversation has a gang member saying he has many pictures of Ford doing hezza.
He had Rob Ford smoking on the Duga and pictures of Rob Ford doing the hezza, both believed to be street slang for drugs. He was allegedly told to take a picture because of what it would be worth.
These gang members, according to these wiretaps, said they weren't intimidated by the mayor whatsoever because they had pictures of, quote, him on the pipe and doing the hezza, slang for heroin.
He's smoking crack. It is no stretch of the imagination or surprise to find out that potentially it could be heroin now, too, as we learned today. So.
The hezza.
The hezza.
And he said another alleged gang member claimed to have pictures of Ford doing the hezza, a street term for heroin.
I have been advised that we are now in possession of a recovered digital video file relevant to the investigations that have been conducted. That file contains video images which appear to be those images which were previously reported in the press. With respect to events that took place, we believe, at a house on Windsor Road in Etobicoke. That information has been turned over to our investigators who are here today. The investigators have taken that information and that video evidence into consideration, and as a result of their investigations and evidence that they have gathered, they have this morning taken into custody Mr. Sandro Lisi and laid a charge of extortion with respect to the evidence that has been collected.
On October 31st, Lisi was arrested and charged again, this time with the more serious offense of extortion, allegedly threatening violence in an effort to get that video. But just hours later, it would all be overshadowed by this stunning announcement.
I have been advised that we are now in possession of a recovered digital video file.
Yes, police finally had it. The crack video the mayor was still insisting didn't exist.
The Toronto Police Service is now in possession of a digital video file, and that evidence will now be presented in court in support of the extortion charge that has been laid.
Well, show me the video. No, we're not going to show you the video.
Digital video file that we have recovered depicts images which are consistent with those that had previously been reported in the press.
These police sat and watched the evidence slip through their fingers and took no evidence, took no samples, did nothing. And that's why they can't charge him today. And I find that decision inexplicable.
I think some individuals, not in the police, would have preferred a certain outcome. But our job is not to create outcomes, our job is to follow the evidence. And the investigators did that in this case. They were meticulous and thorough, objective, and most importantly, they were fair.
I support our frontline officers 100%.
That was not my question.
No, I know. The police, the chief, I have an issue with. I think it's political. I'd like to know how much money he spent surveilling me.
And after all that costly surveillance, charged him with trafficking marijuana. As for the mayor, he was never even questioned.
This is all illegal activity, and there have been no charges.
The police treated the mayor differently than any other person.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, he was treated differently than any other person. This was the most microscopic investigation in police history, probably cost hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or more, and they followed him for weeks and weeks without anything involving any criminal allegation. So yes, he was treated differently. And there actually should be some sort of, I'm not saying inquiry, but something, the police should be made accountable for this. We should find out how much money was spent, what police resources were spent.
You listen to what your lawyer says. I don't think any of us would go into court without a lawyer on criminal charges. You listen to your lawyer.
That the most they could charge him perhaps with possession of some narcotic. So, but what evidence do they have? They've got somebody on a wiretap conversation saying the mayor was smoking drugs at my house last night.
You have acknowledged having done some things that are in fact not legal, but they're not, as I understand it, at least the ones that have been admitted by you are not matters that can be charged because there were no witnesses, and it's it's all in the past.
I've admitted.
So do you assert absolutely that there is no just legal problem for you looking forward in the sense of a possible prosecution?
No, if I've done something illegal, I've told the police to arrest me. Yeah. Do not talk to the police. All I'm doing is repeating what my solicitor, the top criminal lawyer in Canada, has said to me.
What did Mayor Ford say to you after you gave him the advice that you just told me about?
I'm not really sure. He doesn't have any comment whatsoever.
I'm not a rat, and I think other people would...
Okay. We have recovered a digital video file, which is consistent with that which had previously been described in various media reports. And where reasonable probable grounds to lay a charge exists, charges have been laid, but that's up to the investigators in consultation with the Crown.
So you're saying where some people say that the mayor was treated differently because he was treated with kid gloves and he wasn't charged, you're saying the mayor, yes, he was treated differently and he was persecuted because he was mayor or someone had a political agenda against him.
Yeah, I definitely think this is political. I think that they used, Lisi as a prop to get to me, and that's pretty well it.
Sandro Lisi, who the surveillance would soon reveal had a remarkably close relationship with Toronto's mayor.
Have you seen that video? Yes, I have.
What do you think of it?
Again, again, this is a matter before the courts, Austin, and I don't think it's appropriate for the police to comment on the evidence they're putting before it. We gather that evidence, we put it before the courts, and we'll allow the courts to make a determination as to what it means.
As chief of police, are you shocked?
I'm disappointed.
Why do we have a chief of police in this town that's interfering with the democratic process and gunning for the mayor?
We conducted an investigation that needed to be done. We gathered our evidence and we placed it before the court. There were actually several video files, but relevant to this investigation. 2 of those files are particularly relevant to this investigation, and they form part of that evidence.
Yeah, I definitely think this is political. I think that they used, Lisi as a prop to get to me.
On several occasions, police watched as packages were left.
37 short final, win 1.
And then there was an evening in July. Security cameras caught some strange comings and goings at this Esso station. The station is just 350 meters from Rob Ford's home, and yet there's the mayor heading to the bathroom. A few minutes later, Lisi is spotted arriving, carrying a manila envelope. He buys something, he looks around, and then still holding the envelope, he passes very close to the passenger side of the mayor's car. 3 minutes later, the mayor is back, gets into his car, and drives away.
And the search warrant was in reference to Mr. Lisi. This is a man who has no criminal convictions for drugs, and he was involved in that only as a prop, because 99% of the material released by the court had to do with Mayor Ford, and it had to do with embarrassing him, humiliating him, and having people say he should go away for arrest or resign. And as far as I'm concerned, there's some political agenda.
Nothing in that investigation, none of the evidence that we've gathered, nothing that the police service has done has anything to do with politics, and certainly has nothing to do with our budget. It was just, we have a responsibility where there's information or allegations of criminal behavior. We can't ignore it, and so we follow up on it, and we go where the evidence takes us, and the evidence and the law determines what will be done with that evidence, and that's how it's supposed to work. There can never be a political consideration or any other motive other than to uphold the law
and to keep the city safe.
I campaigned on hiring 100 more police officers. I am going to fulfill that campaign promise.
You either support the police or you don't support the police here. This is black or white. If I was the mayor, I would have told the chief, and I'm not going to control the police force whatsoever, but I would have said to Chief Blair, I said, well, please move in on Saturday night. I would have asked him to move in. I don't believe in having this judicial review. This is going to cost millions and millions of dollars. In fact, look at the images. Look at the police. But look at these people getting beaten up. The police were getting, everything was going on. It was unbelievable what was going on.
But you said that as a mayor you would direct the police. You just said that.
I would ask the police chief to move in.
The previously redacted sections are police summaries of wiretap conversations between alleged gang members. Police began to hear them talking about Mayor Rob Ford. On March 27, 2013, Mohammed Syed talked about receiving an offer to purchase the video of the mayor smoking crack. Yeah, he said, I'll give you $5,000 and a car. Syed then suggested the video was worth $150,000. The documents also reveal that the mayor's logistics director, David Price, suggested gang member Anthony Smith, the man believed to have recorded the video, was murdered in March because of it. Police discounted that suggestion.
This man, Anthony Smith, was killed just days before the initial dealer called me saying they had this video. And that person said that the man, Anthony Smith, was killed because of the video. After the video story was published, members of the mayor's staff were telling each other that they had received calls and that they believed that Anthony Smith was killed because of the video, that the video was on his phone, and that was the motive for murder.
$5,000 and a car. Can you fill the details out on that?
Well, I think the incident you're referring to is in April when the mayor lost his phone, Evan, and it was apparently stolen from him by these suspected gang members inside that crack house.
Yeah, he said, I'll give you $5,000 and a car.
Believing that was far too low, one of the men advises he is going to meet Ford again and ask for $100 or $150, believed to be $100,000 or $150,000.
If the conversation is, hey, look, I'm going to go public with this. If you don't pay me X dollars, $150,000, I'm going to go and publish this somewhere. So give me $150,000. If that's the conversation, then the mayor is a victim. He's not the one doing any extorting.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
In the days and weeks after the scandal,
I sincerely apologize.
As the mayor played the victim with the public, the police documents allege that Mohammed Syed was briefly kidnapped. Syed was crying, saying he destroyed the video and his family was in trouble.
There were some people in the neighborhood, I would say people that are in organized crime, that drove in and showed people a suitcase of money, said, hey, look, whoever has the video, put them in contact with us. This is their cash, this is their money.
They were literally showing people suitcases of money?
Yeah. Coming in fancy cars and showing cash. Look, I want, tell them, here's my number, give them a call.
But it wasn't just gold diggers who were looking for the video. Farah started hearing about phone calls from people he was told had close connections to the mayor.
There were phone calls coming in from people claiming to be ex-military, claiming to be police officers, saying, look, if you guys don't pass the video or find the video, we'll arrest you guys or we'll have you guys executed, or some crazy stuff like that.
There were threats made.
There were actual threats made, yeah.
On behalf of the mayor or the mayor's office?
On behalf of the mayor's, right.
They said they were calling on behalf of Rob Ford.
Right.
You tried to drive a tape there. Have you radioed the track more than once?
Excuse me.
Answer
our questions, sir.
Just why are you asking these questions? Were you trying to buy the video?
I told you. And the mayor's not saying much. He was on a radio show. We have a quick clip of his comments at the time. Listen to this, Ian.
Obviously, everyone in the world has heard about the story yesterday that you allegedly offered money for the video of you doing crack.
You know what?
Well, hold on. Let me just finish. I'm sorry. Let me just finish. What do you say to that? I mean, these are wiretaps from gang members who say that you offered $5,000, if not more, $150,000 in a car to confiscate the video of you doing crack on the tape. What would you say to that?
Number one, that's an outright lie,
and number two, you can talk to my lawyers about it. But I'm here to talk football, guys. So if you want to talk football, I'll talk football.
What a shame. Oh, that side night goes to waste.
The people of Toronto aren't going to see you in a state of inebriation?
I'll guarantee that. I'll guarantee that. Guaranteed.
So you've quit drinking for good?
Guaranteed, 100%.
No more drugs?
I'm not a drug addict. I don't use drugs.
I'm not suggesting that you were, but you have, so you're not going to try it again?
Try it again, no.
And the bad company?
Absolutely. I've had some bad judgment. I admit. Okay.
If they want me to do a drug test, a urine test, I'll do one right now. If there's any drugs in my system, any alcohol in my system, I have no problem doing that test. And if they...
Rob, there's absolutely no need to do a urine test right now.
Anytime you want to do a test, you're more than willing to do a test.
But are you like off alcohol now? Completely. You're done with alcohol.
Finished.
You'll never drink again.
Finished.
You know,
I've had a come to Jesus moment, if you want to call it that.
You said to Peter Mansbridge that you stopped drinking. You said you'd had a come to Jesus moment. Is this holding?
Absolutely. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in 5 weeks. I was never an alcoholic, but you know, I'd like to have a few drinks on the weekends.
Sure,
like I think a lot of people do,
including me.
Sometimes, you know,
sometimes during the week too.
But you know, a couple of times I made a fool of myself, if you want to be frank, and you know, down on the Danforth and stuff like that, and enough's enough.
You felt that a lot of your problem is, I think you said, immature behavior.
Yeah, immature behavior. It's embarrassing.
And you've apologized to the city for that. You've apologized to the council for that.
Absolutely, numerous times.
I wish I was as straight as everybody in this council chamber.
Okay, Mayor Ford.
You have to have self-control. I'm not missing a day of work. I never have. I never will.
A fascist? You don't even know what a fascist is. Why don't you shut your mouth? Everything going okay?
Rob Ford's father, Doug Sr.
Do you think you're dad?
I think of him all the time. I know he's watching over me right now. I know he is.
And what's he thinking?
He's saying, straighten your ass out or I'd kick you right in the ass right now. That's what he's telling me. It has been exposed.
And what turned it? What was the moment?
Probably Jim.
Jim talked that night.
Do you think it's time for Mayor Rob Ford to take some time away from his duties at City Hall to get well and to sort of deal with some of his addiction problems?
How about federal cabinet ministers?
No.
None have called?
Yes, one
Jim
has.
Flaherty.
Yes, he has.
I assume you saw the clip of him?
Yes.
What'd that do to you when you saw that?
That ripped my heart out.
And it ripped my heart out. It brought us to literally tears. That when we saw Jim on TV.
Yeah, I am close with the family. I am.
Let's go back to Minister Flaherty. That's a true friend. When he's willing to stand up there and speak in front of the country, in front of the world, and tell you how he feels, that's a true friend. When we ran for election, Rob and I, there wasn't one federal Conservative member, not one provincial PC member, not one Liberal, not one NDP, except Jim Flaherty stood up.
The mayor's doing a wonderful job in Toronto. He's leading the transit reform charge there, and he's straightening out the finances of the city of Toronto. What's not to love in the mayor of Toronto? I mean, you're going to 300 pounds of fun. No?
And that's it.
I'll tell you, Rob, and hopefully you won't be upset. He called me after he saw Jim. He says, I'm changing my life. This is a man that went out there for us, supported us, but not just for Jim, but for Rob. If you're asking the turning point, when Rob said is enough, done, I'm focusing, is when you see someone like Jim Flaherty getting choked up on doing an interview.
The mayor will have, I mean, at the end of the day, he has to make his own decision about what he ought to do. Certainly his family is helping him and wishing him well. That's all I can say.
The Prime Minister?
No.
He hasn't called?
No.
Would you expect him to call?
No.
Are you upset that he hasn't called?
No.
I was fortunate enough to go up to the Prime Minister's cottage, and we hooked into a few nice baths. So
yeah, is that like a
that was you keep that stealth? Like you knew that was coming, or he calls you on a Sunday and says, "Hey Rob, what are you doing tomorrow? You want to come up and go fishing?"
Yeah, we've just been doing it for the past few years. He's around and I'm around, and Monday was a good day, so I went up there and had a great time.
Is it like a sleepover thing?
No.
The mayor actually suggested that a reporter who was once investigating a piece of property near the mayor's home was a pedophile.
I've been in Malvern, I've been in Gina Finch, I've been in Rexdale, I've been in Tanridge. I've been and helping these people out that if I had nowhere to live, taking people off the street and not bringing them to a shelter.
I've taken you 14, 15-year-olds that have been sleeping in parks, that have been kicked out of their house for whatever reason it may be, and taken them under my wing and brought them home and told them to sleep on the couch. And we'll talk about it in the morning.
Don't worry about it. Sleep on my couch downstairs, and we'll deal with it in the morning.
You too. Take your brother with you.
The talk all business as Toronto's mayor and Chicago's mayor re-signed the sister cities agreement.
We had a very good meeting talking about, I think, the shared opportunities not only for the business community, but what we could also learn from each other as two heads of two major cities in our respective countries.
The brief photo op, the highlight of a day of glad-handing, wheeling and dealing between business leaders from both cities.
You can go in the room, you'll see the energy. People are, exchanging business cards, they're talking business, they're talking about jobs, and things are going fantastic. I'm really pumped up.
Now there are questions about those claims Ford made about the cost of the trade mission.
And the best thing about this, the taxpayers aren't paying one dime.
That's not exactly true. Business leaders and the mayor paid their own way, but city staff and city councilors are in fact on the taxpayers' tab. But cost or not, there seems to be real payoff in the works as Toronto's trade delegation blows through the Windy City.
And you signed an agreement with Mayor Rob Ford. So now that he has admitted that he smoked crack cocaine, what do you do? Do you still support him?
Well, the ties between the city of Chicago, first of all, I didn't sign an agreement with him only. I signed the agreement between our two cities as it relates to the important economic, cultural, and other type of trade. And Toronto is a major partner as it relates to economic trade and investment in the city of Chicago.
Have you spoken with him lately?
You got to be kidding. No.
Why not? Why not?
Okay.
No.
I appreciate that, but the answer is no.
All right.
The people that have stabbed me in the back, I've declared war, if you want to use that word. I am very, very upset.
No one commits America's armed forces to a dangerous mission lightly.
If you think American-style politics is nasty, you guys have just attacked Kuwait. And you will never, you'll never see something that you have. Mark my words, friends, this is going to be outright war in the next election. And I'm going to do everything in my power.
Okay, Mayor Ford, your time's up.
Everything in my power to beat you guys.
We're beginning a new era.
And it is, in fact, exactly 330 pounds of fun.
Like I might have smoked some, for example.
Yeah.
And it just plaque builds up for a lot of reasons, and mine got pretty significant there.
Yeah. Any advice for the mayor of Toronto? What do you think he should be doing? Maybe send him an exercise bike or something.
Have an annual physical.
He will lose weight. He'll get his life moving forward in the right direction. He's on the right track right now.
And as you know, he's involved in support with professionals, and he's at the gym every day for 2 hours. Take a look at him. You'll see what a tremendous change that's occurred in the last month.
Rob Ford stays the course, he drops 60, 70 pounds, looking good, he's going to win the next election.
If they saw someone who's like 60 pounds or 70 pounds lighter, I know for sure when I look at somebody, and this is all my private life, don't forget, I've never once been inebriated here at council.
No one
I've been
suggested that.
straight as an arrow. I've never missed a day of work at 13 years.
He doesn't have an alcohol problem. He says he just needs to hit the gym, so he hires a personal trainer, and the day after, this personal trainer's linked to a steroid scandal.
All right.
So trouble just follows this guy.
He looks like he's on
sick
steroids.
motherfucker, dude, but no one's gonna fuck around me. My brothers are. Don't tell me you were liars. These birds, the little birds like this is fuck, daddy.
The Toronto mayor seems to be ranting about killing someone, wildly gesticulating and demonstrating how he'll do it in graphic detail.
But when he's down there, I'll rip his out, I'll pull his eyes out. When he's dead, I'll make sure he's dead. I need 10 minutes to make sure he's dead.
I'm not going to have people say, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that.
It was that attitude that got him in trouble in the first place.
The mom, her 6-year-old, and nanny were driving next to Ford last Friday around 9 p.m. After she pointed out he was on the phone, she claims Ford made a gesture not befitting of a mayor.
He gave us the finger.
We aptly give him a thumbs down and say, "Get off your cell phone," she writes. Rob Ford, our mayor, then gives us the finger. I roll down my window and again shout, "Get off your cell phone." He keeps giving us the finger and I can see him mouthing swear words through the window.
When I further clarified with the mayor's office, they made a stunning admission that the mayor was indeed on his cell phone while driving, not on a Bluetooth or a hands-free device.
You just said you issued a statement, but what happened with the flipping the bird?
No.
Did you?
Nice try.
No.
No.
No. You're done. Thank you. See, you won't be able to use it because I'm just going to keep talking.
Oh, that's funny.
He's the mayor. He's in the public eye. He has to set an example. He has to follow the law as best he can.
It is difficult to accept an error in judgment defense based essentially on a stubborn sense of entitlement and a dismissive and confrontational attitude.
This guy is a one-man episode of Cops.
Do you listen to any of that?
No, I don't really. I'm watching NFL or I'm watching hockey. I'm a big hockey fan.
The woman who you barreled over at the city council meeting, is she okay?
Oh, I didn't barrel her over. It sounds like you're a lefty here. They have paid protesters at council. I looked over, my brother's there, and I saw like him surrounded by like 5, 6 guys. I tried to smoke it through, and she was in the way. I accidentally bumped her and I grabbed her.
Are you having fun right now?
I'm loving it.
You're liking this?
I'm loving this. My record speaks for itself. I apologize for my mistakes. I'm only human.
We work! Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You're a disgrace.
I know, you're a disgrace too. You're a disgrace too. Why don't we get the real people down here all the time? Get the real taxpayers. You're milking the system.
Call me if you guys want to get a team going.
And then the mayor was gone into his Escalade, his destination unknown.
He was intercepted by about 100 people on the street. They each wanted a photo taken with them. And I think the public pulse is very for Mayor Ford as opposed to anti-Mayor Ford.
And we were live as Rob Ford watched as CP24 made the call. He is the next mayor of Toronto.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will stop the gravy train.
The mayor is doing slave work. He is making people as the new vehicles. We are now the horses pulling the buggies. It's going to get worse. Soon we'll be microchipped and tagged like animals too.
It's the northern white Mary of Mary.
Who's in my... For mayor.
With less crack.
Excuse me, guys. Hey, no, it's not respect. He's hitting the face of the camera.
Mayor, are you saying the video is a fake?
Do you want me to say I'm sorry? Do you want me to say I apologize? Do you want me to dance around? I'm not quite sure what you want me to do.
Yes, Toronto. Wave a hands, Toronto. Let us come together as one. Come on, Toronto, wave your hands. Come on. One love, raise your hands. You can stand up now. Stand up, everybody. Stand up. Hear them, stand up. Hear them. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear them. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, let them all pass, all them dirty remarks. There is one question that I'd really like to ask. Is there a place for this hopeless sinner? In the place from the Father of creation. Hear them. One love. Talk about love. One heart. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm gonna sing it. One love. One heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, let's get together to fight this holy arm of Gideon. So when the man comes, there won't be no dues. How fear on those whose chances grow so much thinner. There's a hiding place from the Father of creation. Hear them. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm gonna sing it. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, let's get together to fight this holy arm of Gideon. So when the man comes, there won't be no doom. How fear those whose chances grow so much thinner. There's no hiding place from the Father of creation. Hear them. One love, sing it. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm gonna sing it. One love, talk about love. One heart, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel. Oh, everybody, one love, one love. One heart, one destiny, one love. God bless you.
Rob, I'll save you $1 million. Take the fluoride out of the drinking water.
Okay.
You know, in front of City Hall, I remember there being a City Hall Speaker's Corner, and then in the winter I noticed that it wasn't there. Do you know anything about the Speaker's Corner? And
what happened to Speaker's Corner? I remember that little wooden booth there too, but I don't know what happened. I didn't even know it was removed.
All right.
Do you think we could see any more bombshells to come related to Brazen, Travel, or anything?
Well, I wouldn't speculate.
To everyone who believes I should have done this differently, I sincerely apologize.
This, however, is Rob Ford watching his own coverage from his office.
Together we stand to ask you to step aside and take a leave of absence, to address your challenges privately, outside of the public eye. We believe that the majority of Torontonians share our view, and that City Council will excuse any absences you require to address the situation with finality. The City and the Office of the Mayor demands nothing less than honesty, accountability, and transparency. Sincerely, and I would like to read the councillors' names who have signed this. and I would ask them to stand. Councillor Paul Ainsley, Councillor Anna Bailao, Councillor Michelle Berardinetti, Councillor Shelley Carroll, Councillor Josh Cole, Councillor Glenn DeBearmaker, Councillor Sarah Doucette, Councillor John Fillion, Councillor Gloria Lindsay-Luby, Councillor Josh Matlow, Councillor Mary Margaret McMahon, Councillor Peter Milchin, Councillor Michael Thompson, Councillor Paula Fletcher, Councillor Mary Frakadakis, Councillor Ron Moser, Councillor Denzel Minin Wong, Councillor James Pasternak, Councillor Mike Delgrand, Councillor Kristen Wong Tam, Councillor Joe Mahavik, Councillor Mark Grimes, Councillor Mike Layton, Councillor Cesar Palacio, Councillor John Parker, Councillor Chin Lee, Councillor Gary Crawford, Councillor Raymond Cho, Councillor Pam McConnell, and Councillor Jay Robinson. Let's get on with city business.
All those in
I would have
favor?
done the same thing. If I would have had a mayor acting the way I've conducted myself, I would have done the exact same thing. I'm not mad at anybody. I take full responsibility.